Camille's on a mission to kill Jules, who's chained to a bed, barely able to breathe in medical. How is Jules going to be able to get out of that one? It's time to talk about, analyze, review, break down, theorize, and rant about Silo's third season episode, Wherever You Go, Don't Go Home. Spoiler alert! Hit it! So we start exactly where we left off, with Camille getting herself ready to put an end to Jules. On her way there, she bumps into her husband, and it doesn't take long for him to figure it out. A heroic death would very much help the Silo, pleasing the voice in the room, as he calls it, and eliminating the need to make the entire Silo forget. And he's all in on it. Camille's given instructions to the guard posted by Jules' door to make sure Jules is unconscious by the time she gets there, and that guard instructs the nurse to sedate her patient.
What? But Jules can't be unconscious. She'll die.
It's okay, Gigi. That nurse, the person who's been monitoring Jules for the last few months and who gave her the forget-me pills and reported to Camille when she stopped taking them, injects the guard instead.
Okay, good, but what?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
You think she's an outsider?
While this is happening, back in the past, Daniel and Helen are shocked about what happened to Steve's place and to Steve. Helen's way more freaked out, wondering who's tracked them and if they're listening to their phones or bugged the car and whatnot. She tells Daniel to meet him at a specific place at 10 p.m., one that she thinks is safe, and off she goes, getting rid of their phones as she does so.
Nice little bit of spy thriller moment there.
That was just a taster before we go back and check into the silo, where the nurse is taking Jules somewhere, just as Camille and Sims get to her bed and see the guard unconscious and her gone. Well, it's not like she can get far in her condition. I think you'll find she can get far enough. And there's another mystery on our hands. Remember Orla?
The shadow head of supply who died in the mines due to the rat poison?
Yeah, her. Well, Paul Billings, the sheriff, is told by a doctor that she's been killed around 2 days before the poison was released.
Hang on, if she's been dead 2 days, she must have been well hidden somewhere in the mines for no one to have found her.
Yeah, quite likely.
So, how did someone manage to find her body when the mines were filled with smoke and poison?
You got me, Doc. It turns out one of the search teams went down a closed-off tunnel, just to be sure, and found her body there.
Oh, well, that was lucky.
And to add another wrinkle to that, the doc who examined her said that she was dead before she ever got in the mines because there was no trace of dust in her lungs. So why didn't anyone bury her body or something? If she was just dumped in a tunnel, someone would have eventually found her, as someone did.
That's just so damn sloppy of them. I mean, they managed to drag her body into an abandoned tunnel without anyone seeing them. Then they just left it there for anyone to find?
Maybe they got spooked and left before they could finish the job.
They had 2 days to finish the job, Mouse. Does that make sense to you?
Guys, we'll hopefully know more soon enough, but right now, we need to check in on Daniel and Helen. But of course we do. They meet back at a flat, which happens to be Helen's ex's.
Is that the safe place for them to hide in that she mentioned?
Well, the ex is away in Sudan on assignment, and no one else knows where they are, so here's hoping. They better hope, because whoever made Steve disappear, and yeah, that was actually his real name, Helen found out, disconnected his phone, and they also disconnected the one of the father of Charlotte's squadron leader. Well, that's them up shit creek without a paddle.
So they have no recording, and whoever they're against are so connected that they are eliminating anyone who even looks sideways at what happened over Iran.
Like I told you, Doc. No paddle.
Well, maybe they could get another copy of the recording by finding that guy in Moldova who did the original.
Which guy in Moldova, Gigi? Moldova's a pretty big place where you don't even know who you're looking for.
Oh, what about that guy Steve was playing online chess with?
Yeah, maybe. Helen did get part of Steve's online username, so, maybe. You just need part of a username to help you find a guy? Huh. Talk about being resourceful. And while she's figuring that out, Patrick Kennedy finally meets the great Lucas Skyle.
Finally, he'll know all his secrets.
Don't get too excited, Gigi. Lucas tells him it's not green and pretty outside. It's exactly as the big cafeteria screen shows it to be. But Patrick doesn't believe a word of it, of course.
Well, he saw the recording.
A recording that's playing inside the helmets. Patrick doesn't believe him and concludes they got to Lucas, and Lucas is now just spreading the usual disinformation.
But we know it's not disinformation. It's actually pretty common for conspiracy theories to not believe the truth even when they hear it, Gigi. Especially if it clashes with their own deeply held beliefs. And whistleblowers all too easily become controlled opposition.
And while that's going on, Shirley is full of remorse for how much of a dick she's been to Juliette, and she wants to see her, But raiders have got the whole area around medical under lockdown.
Oh, she's a fiery girl. She's gonna get herself locked up.
That's why Knox tries to cool the situation down, telling the head raider who he is, and that Shirley just wants to say hi to her childhood friend. Except the head raider recognizes Knox as the head of the rebellion, and tells him that he found the room full of explosives that he'd set up back then, and they should have just put him in it and lit a match. Well, that's not gonna go down well. Well, Knox tells him he's entitled to his own opinion, and this is his.
What does that mean?
He pounds him, Gigi, and all the other raiders.
Well, that's gonna get him locked up and all.
And serves as a great distraction for Shirley to get inside medical.
Well, she's not gonna find Jules, that's for sure.
No, but she does get to overhear Camille and Sims plotting to find her, that they should use discreet raiders to locate the nurse and Jules. Always nice when people discuss their plans where they can be overheard.
I still don't get how that nurse would turn like that.
I agree, it makes little sense, Doc. Hopefully things will clear up soon. Actually, Commander, I think things are gonna get murkier. As they're hiding, the nurse tells Jules that she's the reason that she hasn't been taking the forget-me drugs.
What is she talking about? Jules is the one who's been spitting them out after her encounter with Kennedy.
Well, apparently the nurse had swapped them for non-forget-me drugs before she did that.
Then why did the nurse check the sink for the untaken drugs and report to Camille that she wasn't taking them? What the hell is that nurse talking about?
Well, we don't have time to figure that out as we catch up with Paul, who's looking for the head of supply and just happens to bump into Ola's boyfriend, but nothing much is gleaned from that convo. Well, apart from the fact the boyfriend's not too concerned about Ola's disappearance, as he knows she's a pretty independent girl. Boy, is he in for a shock. Well, not really. Paul doesn't tell him Ola's dead. Oh. Well, okay then. And meanwhile, the nurse and Jules managed to get out of medical through a secret passage she knew.
Convenient.
There's a heck of a lot of those about, aren't there? But the place is crawling with raiders, so the nurse draws them away, telling Jules to go to the pump room on level 76 before she does so. So, now the nurse sacrifices herself for Jules? Just what is going on here? Hey, you want more confusion? Back in the past, Daniel comes back to the loft with pastries and tells Helen he managed to get a meeting with someone at the Pentagon. Doesn't he think the Pentagon might actually be the ones orchestrating the whole thing? Apparently not. All that's given Jules enough time to get to the pump room on level 76.
I'm actually amazed how much a person whose lungs have been so badly damaged by rat poison can do.
Without even being found. Seems the nurse did an excellent job drawing all the raiders away. Well, she gets into the pump room, only to find Sims there waiting for her.
What? How did he know to get there?
You think she's gonna take time to find that out? She gets out of the room pronto, and Shirley's outside, and she breaks the handle and grabs Jules away. Just what the hell is going on? Shirley's gonna take Jules somewhere safe. But Jules doesn't want that. She wants to find Lucas again, except Shirley believes he's dead. Jules hasn't got time to discuss this, so she asks Shirley to take her where she took Lucas. Well, that won't be possible. The void below the silo has been sealed off for months, remember? So she asks her to take her as far as she can instead.
I have a question.
Well, I'm surprised. It's only one.
Well, Jules could barely breathe. In fact, the nurse had a portable oxygen canister to help her with that. But now Jules doesn't have it anymore, yet she appears to be breathing fine, and now she's gonna walk all the way down to the void on a trip that usually takes hours, if not days. Did she make a remarkable recovery or something?
I'm at a loss to understand it too, Doc. Well, maybe a trip to the past will help clear our heads, as Daniel and Helen meet his contact at the Pentagon, Sam Ramsey. They're old friends, but the moment Daniel asks him for help and explains to him why, Sam just backs away from anything to do with that. Not a very helpful friend, then. Well, he's got a wife and kids and family, McCluck. Plus, the Pentagon doesn't take too kindly when one of their own helps an unsanctioned cover-up. Fair enough.
So they're back with no paddle then?
Not necessarily, as that one guy who was at the funeral Daniel attended and also was there when Helen got fired is here and is walking towards them.
Oh no, they better run!
Well, they actually wait for him to reach them. Oh, so they don't think everyone's out to get them then? He tells them Steve now has a coveted position in a high-end cybersecurity company, and the squadron leader's dad, well, he received a very generous loan to help his brother. And they believe that.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, for one thing, you don't disconnect your phone if you get a great job or a generous loan. And you don't have your secret apartment ransacked either. So that guy who, well, wasn't actually the captain of the Nimitz. Yeah, that must have been someone else Juanito's dad was pointing to at the memorial. Well, he offers Helen a dream job at the Times. And Daniel, he threatens to withdraw Charlotte's care. So, he gives everyone cushy compensations.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But Daniel, he gets a threat.
Oh, maybe he ran out of nice things to give.
And to make matters worse, Helen's actually considering the offer.
What? But she's the one who was spearheading this whole conspiracy-busting thing.
Yeah, but it's so clear their little Scooby gang is way out of their league. There's really nothing much they can do in the face of what they're against.
I'm just amazed they believe those other guys got those nice benefits and chose to disconnect their phones. For what? The lols?
So while the entire adventure in the past is unraveling, we're back in the silo with Jules and Shirley chatting a little, waiting for someone to help them get through the gap.
Okay, I have a question. Why do they need help when Jules just last episode slid down the cables on her own?
And I've a question too. How come Jules is still breathing perfectly fine?
Two very good questions, which we won't get the answers to.
Typical.
Sandy's been spying on Jules during all that time and reports back to Kennedy that she's going through the gap with Shirley. Now this worries Lucas, who suspects she's gonna go down to the void beneath the digging machine.
Oh, that place where he found that tunnel and heard the AI threatening him?
Pretty much, yeah. And he needs to follow her and, I guess, warn her.
Well, Kennedy's not gonna be happy with Lucas going.
Not without him and the other outsiders, no. They just got him after looking for him for months after all.
Well, while that's going on, Paul encounters Glenda, the former shadow to the head of supply.
Why is she there?
Well, the head of supply hasn't been seen in ages and Orla's missing, so someone's gotta run the place, right? So why not the former shadow?
I guess that makes sense.
And while Paul's chatting with Glenda, Shirley and Jules got to the tunnel that accesses the void below the silo.
Already? What did they do? Parachute down?
This is Game of Thrones Season 8 all over again. What does that mean? It's when the giant world of Westeros became tiny as characters suddenly started traveling huge distances in next to no time.
Well, what's the point of going there anyway? It's sealed off, remember?
Except it's not. The sealed door is actually on a secret latch which Jules finds and releases.
Can't trust anyone these days. Who did the supposed sealing?
Walker.
Okay, well, that explains it then. Although, I'm amazed they allowed her to do the job considering her history, and no one checked on it to make sure it was properly done.
There's a lot of black stuff going on in both timelines, Doc.
So Jules goes down the tunnel on her own.
Why on her own?
Oh, there was a noise behind them, so Shirley went back to check it out.
Convenient.
She finds a hole and climbs down it.
And her breathing?
It's apparently fine, Doc. It looks like the trip all the way down the silo completely healed her lungs.
But that's not how lung damage works.
And meanwhile, Daniel's back in his office, catching up on some work in the middle of the night.
Well, actually, he's checking out Helen's supposed journalistic fraud. Turns out she'd made up a source a while back, which is what got her fired from that cushy job she used to have.
You'd think he would have checked that before joining her on this fruitless adventure.
You'd think, but he didn't. So, here we are.
Well, where we are is him at his desk, on his computer, and someone tries to contact him.
Ooh.
It's Sam! And despite the fact that he vehemently refused to help Daniel telling him about what happened with his sister's mission bugged him. It actually bugged him all week.
Hang on. So, this scene takes place 1 week after that mysterious old man made them his generous offers, and only now does Daniel get to his office to check up on Helen's past? Way to realistically make the timeline work for the audience, writers.
Sam tells Daniel he found something he won't believe.
And the conspiracy hunt is back, baby.
So he goes to find Helen, tells her about it, and they're back on the covert Black Ops trail. Not that we'll learn what Sam found out just yet, as we need to catch up with Jules, who's finished climbing down the hole she went down.
All perfectly breathing?
All perfectly breathing.
Well, of course she is. Wish all my patients were that resilient.
So she's made her way back to that place her boyfriend used to hang in, right beneath the giant digging machine.
Nice to see the lights are still on and everything.
Well, it's obvious she's gonna meet someone there.
My money's on Walker.
Mine's on Lucas and Kennedy. Well, you're both wrong. It's Bernard.
Told you. I bloody told you he was still alive. Classic trope of all time. Nobody, no death.
That got you pumped.
Damn right it did.
Now they better come up with a good explanation on how he survived being suffocated by Sims. It's not like the guy's known for leaving jobs half done.
This'll all have to wait until next time, as this is where we leave it.
So, we don't know what Sam found out.
No, we don't.
Or what Lucas found out.
Nope.
Or why Orla was killed.
Nuh-uh.
Or if that mysterious man really did give those people those cushy benefits.
Nada.
Or even how Sims knew to wait for Jules in Pump 76.
That's a given.
Or how Jules's lungs are in such great condition.
The body heals in mysterious ways, Doc.
But of course it does.
Well, damn, I gotta say, this was all pretty frustrating.
How so?
Far too many inconsistencies, Gigi. Like, being able to get all the way down to the void beneath the silo is just a cherry on top as well. Not to mention how Daniel and Helen just believed that mysterious man.
If I was that mysterious man, I would have made sure they both would have disappeared in the week between their meeting with him and Sam contacting them.
Any half-decent conspiracy Black Ops guy would have done just that, Doc.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be a story left in the before times had he done that, McCluck.
And you're saying that like it's a bad thing.
And after all that, we don't even have an explanation why the nurse, who Camille and Sims handpicked, turned out to be a traitor. Or how she wasn't giving Jules the forget-me pills.
Or when she told Camille when Juliette started not taking those fake forget-me pills herself.
That entire deal with the nurse makes absolutely zero sense, I agree.
And now she's captured. Will we ever get an answer?
Maybe next episode?
There are too many things that don't make sense for me. Even little basic stuff like Jules and Shirley waiting for someone to help them get past the gap, when we know that they can just grab a pair of gloves, hold onto the cable, and get down on their own.
Oh, maybe Jules wasn't well enough to do that.
But she was well enough for absolutely everything else? Yeah, sure, Mouse. Sure.
And even Daniel checking on his computer about Helen's past, clearly anchoring that moment right after they parted ways. After all, he did say that he was going to catch up on his work while he thought about the mysterious man's offer, only for us to learn that it's been a week. Why even have him do that on his computer then? If the screen was just some gobbledygook about him securing votes or whatnot, it wouldn't have been an issue. That's just a stupid crap decision by someone in the production which took me right out of the story.
I do have to wonder, though, how whoever helped Bernard managed to get him down that hole Jules went through to get to that space under the drilling machine.
You're puzzled by that, Doc? For all we know, they just dropped him down and he's got broken legs as well as his burns, which is why he's stuck in bed.
I get a sense you're not best pleased with this episode's development.
You think? Seasons 1 and 2 are finely crafted story. This season, especially this episode, feels like it's been written by someone incredibly naive with zero knowledge of the scale of the silo, medical necessities, or how ruthless Black Ops operatives should really be. It's all a bloody frustrating mess. That's what this episode is. It's almost as if they got a new showrunner for this season or something.
They haven't, McCluck.
Well, then I'm at a loss to understand what the hell is going on then. This is without a doubt the worst episode of the entire season.
The worst episode of the season so far.
Stop, Doc. Just stop. Despite my criticism, I still love this show and really hope they rectify this mess quickly, like with the next episode.
Well, with Jules probably getting her memory back by then and Lucas and Bernard still alive, it should be a big moment full of reveals. Yeah, it could be a massive exposition dump.
And what's going on with Paul and all of this? He used to have a medical condition which he was hiding, and now he seems fine? And his investigation is going pretty slowly. It all feels like his scenes are just there to make sure that the actors got something to do.
I don't know, but I'm sure we'll get somewhere with it soon.
You kinda keep saying that, Commander, and I'm starting to have my doubts, despite my stated enthusiasm for the show.
You know, I do have a theory I'd like to postulate.
Have at it, Doc.
I think Sims is in on it with the outsiders.
Are you freaking kidding me? Why on earth would he be?
Okay, well, hear me out. He's acting all different now, right? So what if, since he learned that the AI is controlling everything, and since he knows something's not right, that he wants to uncover the conspiracy too? So that's why Bernard is still alive. He let him live. It will also explain why the nurse was somehow on Jules' side and not giving her those drugs, since he hired her. It will also explain how he knew to wait for Jules at Pump 76. And if you think about it, it will make a lot of sense to a lot of other stuff.
And he's doing all of that behind his wife's back, all while he's furious at Jules for not remembering.
What his wife doesn't know won't get passed on to the AI, McCluck. And he's likely frustrated Jules doesn't remember yet since she's not taking the pills.
Actually, that kind of makes sense. But how long has she been off the drugs then? Because Jules was pretty lethargic for the first 2 episodes, and does that mean that both Paul the sheriff and Sims the judge are in on this big conspiracy, yet they don't know that the other one is?
Unknown about the drugs time frame, and as for Paul and Sims, stranger things have happened.
Ain't that the truth?
And with that, I think it's best we left it there for now. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll give you the response you deserve.
And meanwhile, the nurse and Jules manage to get out of medical through a secret passage. Secret passage. And meanwhile, the nurse and Jules manage to get out of medical through a secret passage. Why can't I say this?